welcome back for our holiday edition of Cook the Book. This is Valerie, I'm Tina. We're here with you seasonally to talk about a book that we have here at the library, usually a fiction book, and then we get inspired from that to do a recipe. And today is going to be super fun because we have a great and easy holiday recipe that really looks a lot harder than it is.
Right.
Like this is something you could take to a party and people would be impressed, and it really was not that hard. So we have so many great holiday books here at the library. This is one of our new ones, Christmas with a Crank. It's by Courtney Walsh. We have other books by Courtney Walsh. Her really claim to fame is she's very proud of writing books that are very clean. They're closed door, you know, there's a lot of lead up, and then you don't get any of the details of any of that sort of thing happening. There's no language in it. And she's very proud of that, and really there's such a market for books like that. So again, this is her newest one, Christmas with a Crank. It involves two childhood friends, Liam and Olive. They were besties growing up. They were each other's first kiss at 12 years old, but really just friends. Liam's family owns a Christmas tree farm in town, and he knew growing up he had to always work at the Christmas tree farm, and it really turned him against wanting to stay in the town as he got out of college. So he never came back home after that, became a video game designer, really had no interest in returning to the small town or to the Christmas tree farm. And so he and Olive obviously lost track of each other. Well, Liam's parents, who still run the Christmas tree farm, announced that that would be their last season, the upcoming holiday season, that they were going to sell it. It was too much work for them. They wanted to move on. So they hire Olive to come up with it, like a great idea to get people in and excited for this last season at the Christmas tree farm. And of course, Liam is coaxed into coming home, even though he really didn't want to, because it is the last season at the Christmas tree farm. So Olive and Liam reconnect. He is very cranky, doesn't care for the holidays, doesn't care for the Christmas tree farm, doesn't care for small towns. He's a man of few words, and Olive is more bubbly and talkative and inquisitive and, you know, kind of a ray of sunshine. So it's kind of fun to see two people that are so different reconnect in their own way. It's a very enjoyable book, and I recently saw an interview with Courtney Walsh, the author, and she had had success in writing, again, very clean adult fiction romance books, but she had felt after several years of that, she was losing like her drive to write. It wasn't as fun for her as it used to be, and she said she was in the car with her husband, and they were going to family over Christmas. And she said, you know, I think I want to write a Christmas book about a small town. And her husband said, I think that's a bad idea. But long story short, that was a number of years ago. And that book was called A Cross Country Christmas. It was very popular and led to her writing not only more regular romance books, but the holiday romance are really her specialty. And it really helped her reignite her love of writing, which I think is really super awesome. All right, so we got the holiday vibe going on. We have so many awesome cookbooks. Also, if you have Libby, you can access oh my gosh, so many cookbooks on Libby. But this one is always so beautiful. The Magnolia Bakery Handbook, so many wonderful things in here. Cookies, cakes, apple crisp, anything you can think of, and a trifle or two. All right, so you want to let us know what we're making today?
Sure. So today's recipe is Cranberry Caramel Trifle. And as you said, it is really easy. So the ingredients, we start out with the cranberry syrup. And that's actually, I love making cranberry sauce. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar. It's really easy to do. So it's 1 3/4 cups fresh cranberries, 1 cup of water, 3/4 cup sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. So you just put that in a pan, basically bring it to a boil and let it boil about 20 minutes. It'll thicken up some, and then you let it cool completely and while you do your other things. And the next is the caramel syrup, which to me is a little more complicated. But if you didn't want to do your own caramel syrup, you could easily buy like the Mrs. Richardson's or whatever. And, you know, and even if you needed it a little thinner, you could put some cream in it just to thin it up a little bit. So
is that the type that's like in the ice cream topping section? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't do like a caramel sundae syrup or anything. I'd get the better kind. Like I said, add some heavy whipping cream to it just a little bit and, you know, make it more syrupy.
Yeah.
But this one, so you do 1.5 cups sugar, 6 tablespoons of water, and 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup, and you put that in a pan, and then you just wait for it to boil, and then you get till it'll kind of golden up a little bit. And then once you do that, then you add, let's see here. Oh, I lost my place. Oh, sorry. 6 tablespoons of cold butter, 3/4 cup heavy whipping cream. The heavy whipping cream you have to heat up in the microwave just to make it a little warmer, but the butter's cold when you put it in there. And then this is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, so it would be more like maybe a little salted caramel. I just use unsalted butter and a pinch of salt. That was just my preference. You can go by the recipe, or again, if you purchase it and you want it a little more like a salted caramel, you can add a little bit to that too. The pudding mixture, super easy for that one. So the pudding mixture is just a 3.4 ounce box of pudding, 2.25 cups whole milk. You could use 1% if you wanted. Doesn't have to be whole, but whole gives it a little bit extra flavor. 1/3 cup sour cream, and I made sure my sour cream was whipped up before I put it in there. It just makes it easier when you're trying to stir it in. And for this particular recipe, it's 6.5 cups sweetened whipped cream divided. What we did, we just used Cool Whip. And I used 2 8-ounce containers because there's about 3 cups in an 8-ounce container. So that just kind of makes it easy too, but feel free to do your own whipped cream if you want. And then 8 cups of cubed pound cake, which is what this is. And the recipe, it says Sara Lee, and that's what this is. So, or if you're really ambitious and want to make your own, that would be lovely too.
Yeah.
So whatever works. And then we'll garnish it with some toasted pecans. So to get started, now that we have all of our ingredients, we're gonna start by putting some of the pudding in the bottom. So it's to put about 2 cups. So it's lovely. I love the texture.
Oh yes, it looks so good. My goodness.
So.
And while it looks super pretty in this glass bowl, you really could make it in a big Tupperware or a disposable, you know, anything, you know, pan.
Yeah.
But with the glass, you can see all the layers.
Right.
It's going to be pretty.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, that helps, and with the holidays, you want it to be pretty, but it doesn't matter because the main goal is you just want those layers. So
yes,
because even a bowl like this would be good to put it in.
for sure.
If you didn't have one of these. So the next, after you put your pudding in there, you're gonna put the cake cubes in. So, and you're just gonna layer them, make sure it's pretty even. And when you cut your cake cubes, they're pretty big. They're like a bite-sized piece. So.
And that is just 1 Sara Lee pound cake.
This is actually 1.5.
Okay.
Well, the family size.
Okay.
1.5, because I think the family size is like 1 pound.
Okay.
And it's 1.5 pounds. So then you'll have extra left over and do whatever you want with that. All right. A couple more in there. So this is to add about 1/2 in here. So. Get it layered in here pretty well. All right. So then once we do that, then we are going to put, let's see, 1/2 the pudding, 1/2 the cranberry syrup, and 1/2 the caramel sauce. So, 1/2 the pudding.
Back to the pudding.
Back to the pudding.
Well, I don't know. The cranberry syrup is looking good too.
Yeah.
As is the caramel. As is the pound cake. Let's be honest.
Right.
It all looks good.
Right. Yeah, trifles are kind of fun to make, and they really do, like you said earlier, look so impressive.
Yeah, they do. Because already you can see, like, you know, the pudding mix kind of going down in between the layers and looking really awesome.
Yeah. So let's see. Try to get it in there and evenly. Add a little bit more. That's not going to hurt. All right. So then this is our cranberry syrup, and I'm just going to use a ladle for that. I figured that would be a little bit easier. Just kind of stir it up, and it does have like a, not quite the cranberry sauce you need at Thanksgiving, but
and if you have the extra pound cake, once you're all done, how amazing would it be just to drizzle some of this on it?
Oh yeah,
alone even, without the pudding even, or whatever, but it would be so good. Or on ice cream.
Definitely.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, so do that.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty already.
It is, it's turning out beautifully there. And we'll just do this. And then our caramel syrup. And like I said, if you get like a Mrs. Richardson's or something, or the Hershey's, it's not necessarily gonna be like this, but add a little bit of cream to it, maybe heat it up, add a little cream to it, and get this kind of consistency to it.
But we should be sure that it's all cooled before we put it into this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All of these, anything that we put in here needs to be cooled first. So.
Oh my goodness, that's looking so good.
It really does. So then we're gonna put more cake in here.
And really, honestly, once you get to the layering part, as long as you're halfway trying, you can't mess it up.
It's true.
You know,
it really is.
If you go out of order or whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with a good result regardless.
Yeah, because it's just going to be pretty. You can see on the side, like, you're going to be able to see the layers, which is kind of with the trifle, the ultimate goal. These are just kind of fun for any special occasion.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many different ones you can do.
Yes. And you know, this book has some recipes in it, and then this recipe actually came, it looks like, from Taste of the South magazine, but Pinterest or anywhere, or honestly, maybe you don't even need a recipe. You know, you could think of your own things to layer.
If you like flavors and certain flavors go together, absolutely. All right. Get these guys in here so they're level. It doesn't matter too much if they're level, just so we can get pudding on there. We want to be able to do that. So
this is going to be tasty.
It is.
And really, with the cranberry, the red of it, it looks so festive.
It does. So for this top level, because it kind of fills it to the top, I'm going to leave a little edge on here so our cranberry syrup can kind of run down.
Oh yeah.
That way it doesn't necessarily run over the sides of it.
You know what would be so cute at the end too? We're going to garnish with some toasted nuts, but you could even add a few like holiday sprinkles.
Yeah.
You know, if you have sprinkles that are red and green, or that would be cute.
Yeah, and this
see, look at it
so
running down.
pretty.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Trying to get it not to run out of the bowl, but if it does, you know, we'll clean it up. Oh, there it goes. A little bit. All right. A little bit going over the side. That's all right. Then we'll just drizzle with caramel. In the top, you don't need to drizzle a lot of the stuff on it. It just said a 1/3 cup, so you don't need a lot.
And really, if you do end up with extra, you could always, as people take out their serving, could have that set aside if they wanted a little extra cranberry.
Yeah.
A little extra this or
kind of
that.
like running off the side here. That's all right. And then, so when you're done, you just garnish it with some pecans. And there you go. Oh, sorry, it is running down the side.
That's all right. That's all right.
But my bowl is probably a little smaller than what the recipe calls for. So
You could even, if you had smaller bowls, could make little individual servings if you
You
wanted to,
could.
especially if you weren't maybe traveling with it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
But yeah, that would be awesome too.
So,
Good. Well, that looks delicious. And thank you so much for joining us. Remember, if you're in Central Ohio, we'd love to see you here in Centerburg at the Centerburg Public Library. Libby is always open 24/7, never closed on holidays.
Nope.
So even though we are, you can always access Libby and great cookbooks.
yes.
And lots of other books and pretty much anything you could want. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.